Here's a place where all of us can be safe. Our stories of transformation can be safe, and all the things we want to research are safe here. This is Safe Space with Cheyenne. I'm really excited you're here, and I hope you stick around for a while, because I've got a lot to show you before I leave Earth. I love you guys.
Hello, my sweet friends. Today I have Mindi Getz on. She is from Life Gets Better, and we're about to find out the definition of what a frequency adjuster is, but basically from her Instagram profile, it says she helps you quantum leap with your feet on the ground. And if you're like me, who's been really into grounded spirituality and not the, psychosis form of spirituality that we see on the rise lately, I wanted to bring Mindi on today to not only tell her story, but tell us how she can help us live a grounded and spiritual life, but also quantum leap us to where we all want to be: happier, better, safer, more aware, and just really get our goals all in line. So I'm going to bring Mindi on. We're going to go through her story, and she's going to tell us a little more about what is it like in the day in the life of a frequency adjuster. Mindi, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, Cheyenne, for having me. So Earthly and Etheric was a tagline to a former evolution of myself and my business. I have always sort of blended the two. Like, I did Reiki, but I definitely was interested in herbalism and, getting my hands in the dirt and growing a garden and things like that. And I study meditation and those sorts of things, but I also think you have to eat decent food and drink clean water and those sorts of things. And so I'm a middle child. So I think my whole life has been about bringing things to the middle, not having the pendulum swing too far one way or the other. And so that whole quantum leap with your feet on the ground really was about, you don't have to be so one direction or the other. You don't have to be so head in the clouds that your feet aren't on the ground. And so that's where that all comes in. Where I started.
Yes. How does this all begin? Because I wanted to bring you on when I was looking through all of your stuff, and I know you'll explain more to it, but I still to this day love any type of like frequency research, and even just expanding like my mind. Like when I first got into it is when I started studying just like the visible light spectrum for humans and how it's 0.00, I think it's 0.0034% of the reality around us. And just reading that fact alone, I was like, what's around me at this very moment that I can't see? Because like we're this much on the spectrum and there's all of this to see. And then obviously I think everybody eventually goes into Nikola Tesla's research where they go like, okay, there's something more here: frequency, vibration, wavelengths. I'm a super big music person. I've spent a lot of time just like, editing the waves and trying to figure out the levels. And, even spirituality for me, like played into editing that. I wanted things to be heard on like a certain level almost. But then you bring up meditation and I think of like Hertz frequencies. I could go down a cymatics rabbit hole all day long. So when I found your stuff, I was just like infinitely fascinated about how you really got there from a belief standpoint, who you were before it. And then, what is it like to actually help people elevate their lives with something that is around all of us, but we can't see?
Yeah. So it actually started way, way, way ago when I was little. So when I was little, I had a hard time with what I didn't know was energy and other people's energy. I would have dizzy spells. Later diagnosed with migraines. So as early as like 2 years old, I had several EKGs. I had all kinds of brainwave testing and things like that. They didn't have a good diagnosis. I wasn't having seizures. That's what they were trying to rule out. Mm-hmm. I was on a seizure medication, which totally messed with all of my senses. So I was hypersensitive to smells of all kinds. My vision changed. Like, all these sorts of things happened when allopathics got added in as a means of adjusting what was an energy interference sort of thing. So, you know, growing up, you're not in charge of your own body at 2 years old or whatever. So you go through all of these things. Your parents are doing the very best that they can in this teeny tiny town where, you know, there's not even a pediatrician. And they're trying to help their kid who has all these strange symptoms. And I was later diagnosed with migraines, put on all kinds of things. But as I grew and learned and got to take care of my own body, I found homeopathy after my grandfather passed in like 2003, 2004. And starting with homeopathy, which is energy, it's the frequency essence of a plant, animal, mineral, diseased tissue, any of those things. And taking homeopathics helped get rid of my migraines, which I feel like was just an alignment of my body and my body's energy and my body's vital force, his ability to be sovereign. And so I started, in 2004, seeing a homeopath who recommended I go to a Jin Shinjitsu practitioner, which that's a mouthful. It's a practice that started in Japan with Jiro Murai and came to the United States. And it's like the blending of acupressure and Reiki. So you're applying touch to essentially meridian points on the body in sequences so that you're restoring a flow of energy. They call it jumper cabling. So essentially you're reminding the body where the energy should be going and flowing. Took me several years, but I got my practitioner certification through there. In the meantime, I also got a Reiki master teacher certification, studied spiritual healing of all kinds, herbalism, color therapy, you name a rabbit hole, and I fell in it. But all the while still, you know, doing the very American dream of working for a corporation and going into an office and sitting in a cubicle and all those sorts of things. But that's not like me. That's not the best use of my energy. I don't know if you've studied human design or anything, but I'm a projector. I'm a 5/1 projector. I'm somebody who is supposed to see the whole thing, see the big picture. People often feel very seen by me. Some people are comfortable with that. Some people are very uncomfortable with that. You know, I walk in a room and it's not that people notice me. People notice me noticing them. And I'm somebody that sees and interprets their energy. Some points in my life I was better at that than others. But it just means that I have also just limited energy of my own to expend. So going into an office going into a call center, I worked in a call center to answer people's questions every second.
This much of a social battery that you have for stuff like that. You can just really feel what's in alignment and what's out of alignment.
Yep. I was always very quick at understanding somebody's problem and figuring out how to get them to the solution, which made me great on the floor, so to speak, right? I'm a great employee in that aspect. Like, I can come into your company, I can see what's wrong, I can see how to fix the holes. But dear God, don't make me sit there and spackle them. I don't have the energy for it. Like, I will give you the blueprint, I will give you the plan, I will tell you who in the company needs to do it. But it is really exhausting for me to be the one going, okay, do this and do that.
Do you think it has to do with getting people on board with like you showing them their blind spots, whether it's in company or even like meeting people out and about? Because I think that's one of the biggest things. And I think we all can do it. I don't think it necessarily has to be anything tied to spirituality. I think it's an innate human trait we've all learned to forget, but it's still there, kind of just like that random my keys are on the counter intuition. But isn't it exhausting when you're like, yeah, you have a problem, here's your solution, and they're like, no, that's not the solution.
Yeah. And one of the keys has been learning not to help but to guide, and reminding people that my effort is 5% of your journey and your outcome. Your effort is 95. Like, I am here to provide the map. The map doesn't do the healing. The body does the healing. I'm just here to show you, like, these are the pitfalls. This is the big detour. This might be a really steep hill, but this is the hill that you need to climb to get there. And if you need someone to rah you up the hill, I'm not the person for it. I would rather empower you, give you tools to empower you, and to be that guide, to be the shower on your journey. And so this last sort of round into Life Gets Better is about that guidance and the tools that will provide answers and assistance to those people who want to make the changes in their life.
I think that's great, though. I think I don't know how many people I've interviewed, because I still have some release, but even people I've worked with personally that I haven't interviewed, right? Just to go check it out. And there was always a clear line of like, I'm going to do the work for you. I'm your channel to source, right? I know what you need. You're a little baby. And then there's people that are like, here's the information, take it into yourself, into your own body, because at the end of the day, it's between you and what created you. And like, those people were really big green flags for me. But sadly, I met a lot more people that, it definitely tied into a little bit of psychosis for like 2 people I met. And then just kind of like, I would say like a spiritual ego about it, where they're like, oh, I have sight and I can see this. So even if you see this, you need to listen to me. And they were in like a teaching practitioner atmosphere. And that was in the very beginning, where I think, it is up to you to strengthen your intuition and your discernment and who you're working with. And, if you do want a cheerleader the whole time to be like, oh my gosh, you did it. Like, I think that's like a wound coming up to be healed when you're going through practitioners. So I think it's great that you put it just right out there. Like, yes, these are the things I'm going to help you with, but I'm just pointing you back to yourself. And that was like the biggest rule that I have with a practitioner now is, if they're not pointing me back to myself and reminding me about my authority and my power and how, yes, thank you for coming and being with me and checking me out, but you actually don't need me in the end. I'm just a part of your path. Those are a lot of green lights for me. Would you agree?
Yes. So practitioners that desire frequent visits, this prolonged experience, are not like my favorite. I know that there are journeys that are going to be longer than others, but one of the things that, I try to encourage people with is like, this is your journey. The 95% is you, not me. But beyond that, I don't live in your body. I don't have to live in your body. I don't know how it feels. Therefore, it's not my right to tell you, you have to do X, Y, and Z. I'm not one of those practitioners that will say, if you don't take this supplement that I think is the best for you, I'm not going to work with you. I don't want to baby someone along and say, oh, okay, it's all right that you don't want to do anything that's going to help you. I'll just keep rah-rahing for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's not okay either. But I think there is something about respecting somebody's sovereignty and recognizing that someone showing up for an appointment is them expending energy in their healing process. And then my job is to help them see, guide them to see that they do have the power to, take the steps. They are wise enough to listen to their body, and that it is good that they are showing up, and empower them in that, not, oh, just keep showing up because I'm the one that's going to do the work. No, you're doing the work of showing up for you by coming to the appointment. What other work are we going to do while we're here? What things are you going to learn so that you can take them out into the world and do them for yourself? So,
do you think people are just kind of stuck in a perpetual loop of outsourcing themselves without realizing it based on the way like society and structure is set up?
So I noticed with my grandparents that they loved and respected me, and it wasn't that they were distrusting the things that I had said or suggested for them, but they had very much been trained. The doctor is the one with the knowledge. The doctor is not going to harm you, and so you follow the orders and the instructions of the doctor. And so I have a master's degree. I have lots of certifications. Don't technically have a doctorate. And in their eyes, that just meant that I wasn't in the same space as the doctor with the white coat.
Like they had information or access to information that you didn't based on their like graduate level?
I don't even know if they went to the length of thinking like he knows better than her. It was just the norm of you trust the doctor because they specialized in that, because it was the age of specialization, right? Like industrial revolution comes along, goes along for a while, then people begin to get specialized in their things. It's not everybody's not growing their own food. Everybody's doing their specialized thing. And like my grandfather ran a grocery store, and so he knew things about food, and people trusted him to pick a good watermelon, and to give him, a well-cut steak and things like that, which had, in some respects, as much respect as the doctor's not going to do me harm. The butcher's not going to sell me a bad piece of meat. And that was just the way of life. My parents' generation was the major workaholics, major get ahead, just grind and mechanization. And that's when it was a pill for an ill. So it's, you don't have time to rest. You don't have time to do any of your own research. You don't have time to make the cough syrup that grandma used to always make or whatever. And so if anything was wrong, you just went to the doctor. They just gave you a pill. That's just what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Not even at the level of, oh, we respect and honor the doctor. It's just, oh, he gives us the thing that we take so that we can go back to work. And then
very systemic.
Yes. And then there are people who are my age who are like, well, I wish I could stop taking these pills, but I need to keep going. I need to do whatever. How do I get out of this loop? Well, I'm going to add some essential oils in because that, Maybe that's an easy, accessible thing. I can even get it at Sprouts. I can get it at the grocery store, blah, blah, blah. And so they're trying to come back. They're trying to make some better decisions. They're trying to believe that they're sovereign. And then youngers are coming even further along on that journey, I believe. So tides are turning for sure.
Oh, definitely. I was just talking with an Ayurvedic and functional medicine practitioner yesterday, and I was telling her that, Western medicine has done so many wonderful things for me. So I always make sure when I bring up Western medicine, it doesn't sound like I'm demonizing them, because I have had moments where I have demonized them based on personal experience. So, I'm just speaking from that. But I do like the blending of medicines and almost just the missing pieces coming together for Western medicine to actually make the proper diagnosis. It's been so focused on the body, and that's it. It's not focused on like mind, body, spirit, which I think sounds woo-woo to a lot of doctors or anybody in the medical field. But you can't really diagnose just off the body for some things, when some things are really, I would just say, like tied to your frequency, tied to your emotions, tied to the meridian lines in your body. And when you're going to someone who really wasn't trained in that, nor is it a part of their curriculum, you look like a quack when you walk into the office and they're like, for me, like I just got set up with a new doctor. I absolutely love her. And I know she's really big into Western medicine. And she's like, do you take any medication? And I was like, no. She's like, well, what do you do for pain? And I was like, peppermint oil. And she was like, okay. And she's like, do you smoke? And I was like, I used to. And I quit vaping, which was the worst thing I ever got into and the worst thing to get off of. I was like, but I drink soursop tea, and I've been doing like Mullen and just, going down my list of things that God put on the planet for all of us.
Yeah.
And, I just kind of explained like my health journey the last 6 years. And she was just like, I don't meet people like you often. She's like, I meet people that come in here and they're like, this is the problem. And I think this is what it is. And this is the medication I can give you. And like, that's it. She goes, like, we can do like some blood work and see, if you're like vitamin deficient in anything, like if you need help with your gut health. She goes, but like, I don't have anything for you. And I said, oh, and I'm not here to get anything from you. I'm just here to establish care in case something happens. Like I have a doctor to go to. And for my OBGYN and gyno, it was the same thing. She, like I was telling her about kind of like my really harsh PMS symptoms that I was having. And I said, I'm studying my cycle now, the moon phases. I'm going off technically a Gregorian calendar for my moon phases. And, I'm just really getting into how do I balance my hormones? What do I need to eat? What do I need to drink? Somatic exercises. Like I went just down this whole like homeopathic alternative list. And she just goes, again, I don't meet people like you. I have pills I can give you, but I don't think you're going to take them. And I said, no, even on my deathbed, I just probably wouldn't take the pills. I'm like, ibuprofen is far and few between in my life. I really have to be in excruciating amount of pain, even after I try the lavender and the peppermint. But I also think, people hit a wall with Western medicine, and you go and you get a diagnosis or you get something that pops up where you do kind of have this epiphany and you're like, I've been outsourcing my health for so long. I don't even know how my body works. Like when I got into my cycle and, just being a woman, I was like, I don't know how my cycle works. Like I'm legitimately surprised when my period pops up. I'm like, what are you doing here? I didn't know it had been that long. So like even bringing into the awareness of how ignorant I was about my own physical body, not just my aura or my frequency or my spiritual aspect, my physical body, I was like, I am so dumb. I don't know anything about it. And I'm a little pissed that we aren't really taught enough about our body as women, but men in general too. There's such a huge outsourcing and almost like a factory line of it. Whereas you said, take this pill to get back to work, go to the doctor to get back to work. And I think the future is people slowing down and listening and connecting with their body, to again build that intuition and discernment to kind of be like, this is for me, this isn't for me. Oh, we all are on our own individual path, especially in healing, even though we do need some support at the time.
I think one of the biggest hurdles that I encounter is just helping people understand their body is not against them. Like you said, I don't know my cycle. When does the luteal phase happen and what's actually happening inside?
Yes.
Right.
Where's the estrogen? Where's the progesterone? Why did I feel like I was to take on the world today and now I hate everybody?
Yeah.
I don't know why I feel that way.
Yeah. Women have testosterone and men have it. Why does that work? And yeah, the bioresonance scanner that I use helps to shed some light on that, because people are, you see these numbers and you're like, I'm a woman. Why is my testosterone high right now? Oh, well, part of your cycle. Like, it's a tool to help you learn that, and to learn that like you said, your body doesn't hate you. You aren't sick. You're either adapting or you're healing. Your body knows what it needs. Will you listen? Will you try? I'm not also completely against Western medicine. I just think it's myopic.
It's very
because we've further specialized, which I get it. Yes, there is greatness in having people that know so much about the heart, or so much about the brain. I love neurology.
Oh my gosh, me too.
All of that kind of stuff. So it's great that people love that and study that and know that. But to think that the brain exists only in the shell of the skull and only is the brain is ignorance to me, because everything communicates with everything else. I mean, when I'm introducing people to frequency medicine, some people are like, hey, this is cool. I never thought of it that way. And other people are like, Mindy, my toe hurts. Why are you talking to me about my gallbladder?
So true,
That's
though.
my toe. Like, I think my gallbladder is up here somewhere. My toe hurts. I'm like, yes, but it's not.
Yes, these are all connected. There are multiple symptoms.
It is all connected. And maybe if we work on your toe, your gallbladder will feel better, and then your toe will feel better. If we laser your gallbladder meridian, it will include your toe, and your toe will also feel better. So, and I don't fault anybody for not having that information, because we don't get that information. The health talk in school is, this is how you put in a tampon. Okay, I could read the insert, but whatever, fine. So yeah, there is a lack of education, and my biggest problem, I think, with Western medicine is probably the God complex, or the authority complex that I come up against a lot, which is probably just I need to soften. So that I don't.
I'm a patient and know exactly what you're talking about. I left a doctor because of the God complex that you're talking about.
Oh, I have left many situations in that, and I do my best now to try and help them see, just like I try and help clients see. I don't have to live in your body. I don't know what it feels like. These are the things that I would suggest. You have to tell me if you're feeling better. I can help you tune into your body. We can assess what's happening, where you feel, how you feel now, how you're feeling later. I can reflect to you when you come to me for crippling anxiety that you're having a hard time judging whether or not you feel better after these number of treatments. But I also know you took yourself to an out-of-town doctor's appointment without a Xanax. You went and visited family. and you didn't have to take a Xanax. You did X, Y, and Z, and you've only taken the prescription twice in these 2 weeks. To me, that would be an improvement. But again, I'm not in your body, but with those reflections, what do you feel? Right? And I feel like a lot of times with doctors, it's like, well, this is the pill that works.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it didn't work? Well, we'll just give you another pill. And are you taking it right? Like, did you take it when you were supposed to? Because it has to be on you, because the pill obviously works. And so I get those clients that have been to the doctors, to the physical therapists. Things are still hurting. Things aren't healing. They have questions. They have problems. They've been dealing with it for a long time. And they're at that last straw sort of place where, they're going to replace my knee if, I can't get it better. They're going to put me on another medicine if I can't get my A1C under control. Might as well just come see you. Great. Glad to see you. Let's talk, let's get a scan and let's see where we're going. So.
I think it's refreshing. Obviously, like, it's a sad avenue when people go through the rigmarole of all of the Western medicine stuff. But I think it's refreshing when people get to that point when they are just like, there's got to be more. There's got to be something else that I'm missing in this. And not that like their distrust gets taken away from the doctors, because doctors are amazing, but they have handcuffs on from insurance companies, from pharmaceutical companies, from even the salesmanship that comes with the pills that they can provide you. There's plethora of documentaries out there talking about the pill mills in Florida, or just doctors, being incentivized to sell a certain thing. It's out there. It's the truth. But when you get to a point where you've went through the physical therapist, the doctor's visits, oh my gosh, the scary bill that the hospital sends you, and you have no idea where any of these charges are coming from. You just know that you went to the doctor one time and you feel like you bought a car, So I think even from a financial standpoint, people are looking at homeopathy and anything alternative because they can actually afford it. I've noticed that it does take somebody, empowering and taking their health in their own hands and researching. But I think that's where the empowerment comes from in work like yours and other people that I've met, is they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea my period was like that. I had no idea that ran through my body. I had no idea that was in my brain or my spinal cord connected or communicated with my body that way. And I say that just from personal experience and people I've interviewed and worked with in the last 6 years. When I got into studying every part of my body that I could, whether it was for a certification or, how does this thing work? How do we get this meat sack on the top tier level? I would just sit there by myself and I would just be like, I am so fascinated. Which one of my favorite books that I have, it's called The Subtle Body, an Encyclopedia of Your Energetic Anatomy.
Yeah.
It's like a must have. But then also I have Barbara O'Neill's Sustain Me as well. My mom actually bought that for
my mom's reading that right now.
And honestly, bridging spirit and science, I think, is wonderful, but bridging frequency in modern day science has been revolutionary, even getting into like Hertz frequencies. And I think the masses are really heading that way. As I told the functional medicine practitioner yesterday, everybody's getting their practices off the ground, or they have really good clientele. But I think everyone in that field is being prepared because the masses are moving that way. It's not a stampede, but you are having people like limping towards you like, hey, I've done everything I can. Me personally, I tore my meniscus, and luckily it wasn't a root tear, but the swelling was so bad I couldn't even bend my knee back. I had to have my friend drive me to the emergency room. And I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again because listen, friends, So I went to the ER. It was like around COVID time where they were very, very weird about check-ins.
Yep.
I never had to call to let the emergency room know I was coming in. So I just walked into the emergency room and they asked me to walk back out to the parking lot and call them. And I was like, I'm not playing oxymoron. I'm playing I can't bend my knee back. And I've never been injured before. I've never broken a bone. I think I've gotten on a bike wreck. I'm not good at being hurt or sick. I'm going to need your help here since this is a emergency room, right?
Oh.
So like I went in and I knew that from my studies alone, I was like, definitely feels like a meniscus tear on the outside of my knee. But let's go get x-rays for tissue. That makes sense. Let's charge that to my insurance. That's great. So I got x-rays. I got like an emergency room knee brace and I got crutches, which means my daughter's not going to college because now that bill is out in the world. Then they scheduled me with a knee doctor with crown marbling in his office and a $50 deposit, who walked in and touched my knee for 3 seconds and said, oh, your knee's really swollen, but we'll go ahead and get you set up for an MRI and probably a surgery. And I was like, and I could just feel it in my bones, like how angry I was. I'm like, I'm a part of the system. I'm locked into this. I would rather cut my effing knee off to the kneecap at this point than go through this shit. Luckily, I had a really good chiropractor, a really good Reiki practitioner, and a really good friend that's a doctor. And I called my friend who is a doctor and I said, listen, these are my symptoms. This is what this guy wants to do. And he said, for the love of God, do not let anybody operate on your knee. You're going to get some jackass that doesn't know what he's doing, messing around with your knee, pulling your meniscus out. And then you're going to have knee problems the rest of your freaking life. He goes, your meniscus will heal on its own, especially the tear that you have. And he goes, go to the chiropractor. He's going to help you. And he goes, you know how to heal your body. You're one of those people. Obviously, I know you're just checking in. He's like, you don't need an MRI. You don't need to go back to that doctor, yada, yada, yada down the road. And like, I remember they're like, we have to check with your insurance if we can do an MRI. When you say we have to check with your insurance, again, it means like, I feel like a slave. I feel like a financial slave to you that I have to give you so much money and you give me nothing. So, you know, I was like middle fingers in the air attitude to this whole thing. So I went to my chiropractor and well, actually at the doctor's office, I ended up meeting this really nice, like, I think he's like a medical salesman that came in to give me a fancier knee brace. His name was Etheric. He was treating me like I was a child getting a shot in the nurse's office when I was 5. Oh, I like your tattoos. What happened to your knee? Da, 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 da. And I said, you can just put my knee brace on. It's okay. I'm sure you talk to a lot of people all day and you have to like really ramp up your personality. But like, how much is this going to cost me? And he was like, oh, well, this is the total before insurance. I was like, great. Awesome. Like, that's what everyone wants to see. Like, this knee brace looks like I could have made it myself, to be honest. So I was a little put off again by the price tag. I will revolt forever against the medical industry's price tags. But a week later, I went to my friend that is a wonderful Reiki practitioner. And I said, this is what happened to my knee. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure, but I need to be able to just bend it normal. Because at the time, I thought the knee brace was helping me keep it aligned for healing, but it just felt like it was stopping at a certain point. Mm-hmm. So she did probably a 30-minute session on me. I put my knee brace back on, obviously to protect it. And after the session, I noticed that the knee brace was stopping me from extending it the whole way. So I took my knee brace off after that and I didn't need it anymore. I was able to do my own physical therapy. I was able to work hand in hand with my chiropractor, with her again, with essential oils. I mean, honestly, I tried everything, but I was also extremely educated on it. And had I not went down I'm going to take my body into my own hands 6 years prior, or I should say 4 years prior at the time, I probably would have been like, oh my gosh, like, you know, the doctor said I need a knee surgery and the doctor said I need an MRI. And, you know, I'm not built for the injured life. I'm not built to go and get surgeries I don't need. And thank God I had a friend that was a doctor who was honest with me. And he's like, dude, your meniscus repairs on its own. Like everything in your body will repair on its own. And I was like, I do trust this doctor and I'm not even paying him. So middle fingers to the air to that knee doctor, to be honest, because he was the epitome of let me touch you for 2 seconds and go and visit 27 other people. And I think the rotating door of Western medicine and just how not caring everything feels in those very sterile and white-walled environments. Like, I do get anxious. I do clamp up. I am not the best version of myself when I'm in those places or when I'm injured. And when I go, whether to, like, even my chiropractor's super cool dude, like, I feel like I'm cared for by him. Any practitioner that I have met, like, I genuinely feel like they actually want to help me. And my new doctor, she's very open, and I do feel like she loves doing it. But I have had experiences where I'm like, why are you in healthcare? You hate people. You don't want to help people. Like, why are you here? And I have to speak on those experiences because they're true and authentic for me based on my experience as the patient. But again, I emphasize for why the stories went on so long. If I hadn't educated myself and my body years prior and listened to myself and then listened to the proper people, I would still be paying an MRI bill and a knee surgery, and I would probably have horrible knee pain that, you know, I didn't need. I was able to save myself because I was educated and empowered, and I have broke the narrative that the doctor knows best. The doctor doesn't know best. You know best. You decide if what they're saying is for you and what isn't for you.
And that's why I love frequency. So everything starts with frequency in the body.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the ultimate preventative medicine, in my opinion, because if you adjust the frequency, there is not the same downstream effect as things sense down into matter. So you shift the frequency, you change the outcome. But beyond that, the frequency app that I use, it's an app on your phone, on your device, whatever, and it empowers you. My father was mauled by a bull on June 10th. He's a ranch hand. This isn't the first time, but he's 72. He broke his neck less than a year ago.
Oh my God.
He's not as fast. He's not as strong. He couldn't get away. So as soon as I heard that he was in the ER, I picked up my phone. I opened the app. I opened my dad as a profile, and I started scanning. And what did I find? I found 2 ribs that wouldn't come back into balance. I found 2 vertebrae that didn't come back into balance. I found parts of his brain and his skull that were not well. And there was part of a shoulder joint that was not coming back into balance. What happened that they found in the ER? He had 2 broken ribs. He had 2 broken vertebrae. He had a massive concussion and brain bleed, and he had 2 broken shoulder blades, the one of which went into the bursa, into the joint. And so did I miss the other shoulder blade break? Yes. Did I miss some things in the brain? Yes. Did the scanner miss it? Maybe not. But I just found out that my dad was rammed in by a bull multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
So it was probably not in the most analytical and centered part of my own mind.
Think about your emotional state at the time of there really isn't clarity. You're just like, I need to know what's going on right now.
Right. Like, the other part of the scanner that I love in this system specifically is for everything that it finds out of balance, it sends an optimizing balancing frequency. Now, we see the problems in matter when things aren't coming back into balance because it's already been supported. Does it shift? If it's not shifting, it's definitely a physical issue. We also have the ability to scan some things that are more like affirmation type things. And as soon as I did the scan and optimization for bones in the brain and that sort of thing, I scanned an affirmation thing to see like if it was more a pain thing or, you know, like what was coming up, and integrity came up. I thought, that's weird. I'm gonna send a balancing frequency for integrity for a couple of minutes before I'm gonna take myself a deep breath.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to figure out what else is going on. And then it hit me. Integrity. A broken bone is a bone out of integrity. So all of the things that I was seeing, these bones aren't coming back into alignment. They're not optimizing because they're not in integrity. Within 24 hours of me doing frequent scan and optimization, specifically of ribs, the skull, veins, arteries, nerves in the head and the brain, and those sorts of things, his ribs started coming back into frequency balance. The shoulder blades, after about 2 days, the left shoulder blade would come, it wouldn't stay, but in the morning it would be in balance, and by evening it would be out of balance and stay out of balance. And so the healing process is also not linear. So it's not like, oh, it turned green, so it's better and everything's good, and like take the sling off. That's not right either. I know bones, even if the frequency is at the right place, the bone still has to regrow. Mm-hmm. And that's not going to be instantaneous. Is it supported by the frequency of bone growth? Absolutely. Am I going to keep playing that? Absolutely. But it's not going to be in 2 days. But I could see some things shifting more towards the positive. Is he still in a lot of pain? Were we dealing with brain swelling and the bleed and all of these other things? So there's a lot going on in his body. And is his body going to probably prioritize the brain over the shoulder blade? Yeah. And that's good. And that's fine. And I don't want to stand in the way of that. But I had this tool literally in my purse, literally in my pocket. And I could go into the ER and say, this. I know you need to be looking at this. Even when he broke his neck, I could tell them, this isn't right. There's something still wrong here. So he broke his neck last July. We didn't know it right away. He went probably 10 days before surgery and almost a week before knowing that it was broken. But I knew something was off. He also happens to be stubborn.
I'm getting that from the rancher and the dad and the generational and systemic that we referred to.
Yeah.
I got a whole picture in my mind of this guy. Surprised he didn't just sew himself up and get back to work.
Yeah, the day after he broke his neck, and maybe he fractured it, and maybe the things he did the next day is technically when it broke. He made me go out to the ranch with him because the ranch owner was gone. He didn't think he could do the chores that were needed. He climbed over a 7-foot gate with a 3 to 5 gallon bucket of feed in one hand.
Yep. Pull your boots up. Shut up. Get to work.
I'm like, dude, Dad. And of course, I was, feeding something else on the farm. Turn around and there's my dad climbing this gate. I'm like, for the love of God, I don't want you to get hurt by these horses. These horses are... I'm going to get hurt dragging your out of the gate that I'm not strong enough to open. Yeah, I can't get you up over that 7-foot gate. Would you get in there? And anyway, but this tool gave me the ability to say to them, you need to look at X. This isn't right. Maybe I don't know, because there are times, like it scans and it's like, whatever, shoulder bursa ligament 7. I don't know what the heck that is. Luckily, there are pictures. Those help. There's Google. You can click to research whatever that body part thing is.
So if someone wants to work with you, they can work with you personally, and then they can also just download the app on their phone and learn how to do it themselves. Is that what I'm getting?
So yes. So the app is a subscription that you can come through me to get the subscription. There's all kinds of training on the app as well. Plus, I would personally guide you. Someone can, and people do come to me for scans. They're like, something is off. I don't feel so great. My kid is away at camp and she's calling me, she's throwing up, can you do something? Yes, I can, because it works through distance. It works with scalar waves that don't lose energy over space or through physical matter. And so, yes, I can scan the digestive system of Sally Sue at, camp, whatever, and tell you that she probably ate something bad. E. coli is coming up, like, let's get her a binder. I'm going to send her a balancing frequency for E. coli, Giardia, and amoebas. We're going to send it for a while. We're going to see if she improves. We're going to, encourage her to not eat for a while, but just keep hydrated, blah, blah, blah. It is not a medical device. It is not diagnosing. I am not a doctor. But when you can walk into the doctor's office and say, here's my hormone panel. Yes, it's at a frequency level, but I can tell you for 2 weeks that my GP60 or GPD60, it's a kidney thing. Anyway, I can tell you that it's been elevated and I've been having this symptom. Granted, like you said, the doctor's hands may be very well be tied, and that you may have to have this blood panel before they can do that sonogram of your kidneys or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You may have to still jump through the hoops. But you can know, like, there's a disturbance in the force, and it happens to be located here.
Do you think that going to a functional medicine doctor with this app would be like I don't want to say a better choice, but maybe a more open-minded choice for the practitioner that you're working with?
Yes, if you live in an area where you can get to a functional medicine doctor, great. Mm-hmm. I know functional medicine doctors who use the app. So that, like, it's totally money saving. The app itself is $149 a month. So it's not a $3.99 app that you buy in the App Store. Mm-hmm. It is a massive bioresonance system that used to cost $38,000 that you can now access through your phone.
So I'm getting it's like BioWell on your phone. Do you know what BioWell is?
It's so much more than that.
Yeah, but like that's kind of like for people that know BioWell, it's like BioWell on steroids is what I'm getting.
Yeah. There are 13 different programs in there. Everything from being able to scan your supplements and tell you if you really do need vitamin C that day, or Steffi, which I call the Mall of America frequencies, mm-hmm. where you can go in and you can look through the frequencies and see edema, tonsillitis, blah, blah, blah. You can push that button. You can imprint the frequency into water. You can buy one of these handy dandy pretty bracelets. These gray ones are Cybin, a special meteorite that holds frequency really well. There are magnets. You can imprint that frequency. You can wear it so that your body is in that frequency field to support whatever. There's all of the tuning fork frequencies. There's even
I love tuning forks too.
Yep. So you can scan and see which tuning fork frequency you need. So you don't have to be a tuning fork frequency practitioner. It will speak with your body.
A lot of things where I feel like I need to be a practitioner to even use it on myself. So I really like that.
Yeah. So, yes, you need to pay attention to what you're doing. Yes, mm-hmm. I absolutely recommend everybody go through at least basic training, etc. There are some protective mechanisms, like you can't run an entire comprehensive scan of everything in your body, the hundreds and hundreds of things that the comprehensive scan does. You can't mm-hmm. do that like every 5 minutes. The app won't let you. It's too much for your body.
So there's safeguards too. That's nice.
So yes, so there is safeguards. There is so much information. There's literally a help button that tells you how to run the scan. It even has videos embedded in the help section. So you don't even have to call customer service, which customer service is amazing. They're the sweetest people on the planet. There's just so much. You can scan your meridians. You can scan your hormones. You can scan your chakras. You can scan hormone panel. You can scan food sensitivities. Don't know what to do for dinner? You can scan food sensitivities and be like, yeah, eggs aren't on the menu tonight. We're not going to have breakfast for dinner. That's a a frequency that's not in balance with my body. So I'm not going to eat the food.
This app sounds just futuristic to me.
Yeah, it is beyond amazing. One of the very first things that I like to introduce people to is called Inner Voice. It's a 10-second recording of your voice that is analyzed, and then it creates 4 harmonics, 4 frequencies that are going to balance your emotions. It gives you a report that tells you each one of the ones that came up, 3 that are high, 1 that is low. It gives you suggestions for supplements or things like chiropractic that will help your body and your emotions because they are intrinsically tied together. So you can use that report because you're like, I don't feel good. I don't know how to feel better. Here you go. Read the report. Try something on the report. At least one of the things, right?
This is in your bio on Instagram, isn't it? And I think you sent me the link as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we need to make sure that we put that in the show notes for our guests so they can try it out for themselves. Because, I mean, this software just sounds so intoxicating to me. I'm like, oh.
If you need a rabbit hole, this is the granddaddy of rabbit holes.
So many rabbit holes in one. And when you say BioWell on steroids, I'm such a supporter of BioWell. That's what got me, I mean, definitely to like wake up very fast, especially with the frequency manipulation that she did in my body that day. But when you say BioWell on steroids, I'm like, oh, tell me more about this. And obviously, like, these episodes are for the guests, so we want to make sure that we get all of the information to the guests as well. Excuse me. In case they also want to get a subscription from you, work with you personally, or even just try the voice and get the report and see, what they're missing. Get a blind spot called out on them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very eye-opening, everything that's on the report. Plus, you get the music to keep. You can listen to it as much or as little as you like, which is an amazing resource because there are amazing meditations and music and things for free out there on YouTube, but this is for you.
Yes, you specifically.
Your body, you right now. It's from your voice.
Okay, I love that you said it's for you and it's for you right now, referring to the fact that we obviously fluctuate like a sound wave so often.
Yep.
So like maybe the meditation from last week isn't the one you need this week, especially if you're like me, who's on a hormonal journey. Who this week I need somatic exercise and peace and silence. And next week, maybe we'll turn up the volume a little bit on life. So I love that you added that in there. Before we get out of here, do you have any advice for anybody that is wanting to get into this, but is still a little hesitant, or even just some life advice for anybody?
I always just say, like, you have to try it, right? Like, you don't know how good things could be in your body until you try something better. And like I said, I'm not in charge of your body. I don't know what it feels like, but I do know from my own personal experience that when I work with frequency, things get better, things get faster. You were talking about your knee. I was on vacation. I rubbed my eye. Something got scratched, got in my eye. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't find something to get it out. I didn't have eye drops. My eye was swelling. It was getting red in the corner. I picked eye inflammation. I played it for 5 minutes. I forgot that I'd hurt my eye in that 5 minutes. The frequency stopped, and I was like, ooh, my eye feels funny. Oh, played it 5 more minutes, and my eye was fine. Been fine since.
This is beautiful. I have to research more into this. And I have a break after our episode, so I probably am going to try that thing that I've been trying to do for months now. So, my friends, the link is going to be in the bottom of the episode for Mindi's business, working personally, getting the subscription from her, even some guidance from her on the app along with customer service, and be like me and do this 10-second voice thing, get your frequency and get your report. Because yes, thank you for my new rabbit hole. And thank you for coming on here today and sharing your story. And I mean, honestly, you're just futuristic medicine with all of us. I think this could really help a lot of people and open their eyes up to, truly how powerful our bodies are, but also the frequencies around and in us are. So thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Thank you, Cheyenne.
All right, friends, we'll see you on the next episode.